How's everyone doing? Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I am on a weight loss journey. I am down to 70 pounds and counting. I've hit that point where my friends and family and coworkers are going, Chris, what's your secret? What's your secret? How are you losing all that weight? And it's not a secret. I'll tell anyone who wants to listen. I've got 3 things that I do to lose weight. Step 1, change my diet. I've been eating a lot less food and a lot healthier food. Step 2, exercise. Step 3, I've been experimenting with drugs. I'm just kidding, I don't exercise. Yeah, so not to be outdone, my wife completed a 40-week bodybuilding program. She gave birth to our daughter. So I remember when our daughter was born, my wife went into labor. We called the nurse line, and the nurse said, is this your wife's first child? And I said, no, this is her husband. And that's kind of how the day was going to go for me, because I use comedy and humor to diffuse tension, and it was going to be a very tense day. So we get in the car, I drive to the clinic, and I made the mistake of telling the midwife that I did comedy. And I say that's a mistake because when you tell somebody you do comedy, one of 2 things happen. They either say, tell me a joke, or they proceed to audition for Last Comic Standing. And given the situation, my wife did not want to hear jokes from anybody. So I was kindly asked to maintain a vow of silence until spoken to. Okay. So the moment came for the big push. And the midwife goes, it's going to be okay, Amy. It'll all be over soon. And this made me a little nervous. So I broke my vow of silence and I said, excuse me, my wife's name isn't Amy. And the midwife looks at me and goes, I know, I'm Amy. And she gives me this look you give idiot dads. And if there's any other dads in here, you can vouch for me. There is a look you get when you're a dad and people think you're an idiot. For those of you that don't know, it simultaneously conveys a look of wonder and amazement. And as in, I wonder if you really are that stupid, and I am amazed you were able to procreate. So my daughter comes out, Amy checks her over, and she goes, I'm sorry, I have some bad news for you. And I thought, oh no. She goes, it looks like your daughter was born with 4 kidneys. But the good news, as she gets older, 2 of them will grow into adult knees.
Boo.
So she was fine. So it took me having kids to realize my neighbor's a jerk. I was out walking my daughter in a stroller, and my neighbor comes over and goes, oh, what do you got here? And I said, this is Lizzie. And he goes, well, what's Lizzie short for? And I said, what is she short for? She's a baby. Give her time. Jerk. So I've been working from home. I've discovered when I'm sitting at my keyboard and I'm feeling stressed out, you just press the F5 key. If you don't believe me, you should try it. You'll find it refreshing. You guys are great. So I had to get a new printer working from home. My wife and I have nicknamed our printer Bob Marley. And not because it prints at a pace that makes you think it's living that slow, relaxed reggae lifestyle, but because the damn thing always be jamming. I was telling that story to a friend of mine, and he's a one-upper. You know the type? Whenever you tell them something, they've always got to best your story by 1. You haven't slept for a week, they haven't slept for 2. You could eat a horse, they've already eaten 2. And so I told that story to him, and he goes, oh yeah? I've got a 3D printer at home, and I can print a gun. I said, oh yeah, Mr. One-Upper? I've got a Canon printer. That same guy, Mr. One-Upper, and I were hanging out with a friend of ours. He had just gotten back from deployment. He was in the Army, just gotten back from the Middle East. And he was telling us a story when he was out with his convoy and his Jeep got blown up and hit a roadside bomb. Thankfully, my friend was okay. They armored the underside of his Jeep. He didn't sustain any physical injuries. But Mr. One-Upper looks at him and goes, oh yeah? You ever work at Walmart? You guys have been great. That's all the time I have for you. You guys can check me out. I'm on all social media, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Tinder, Instagram. You guys are laughing. I promote the hell out of my shows. So, Sarah, if you came, sorry, I am happily married. But thanks for buying a ticket. All right, put it together. Let's welcome our host back.